This one will be thanks for my mentor, Kaisu Viikari. And Kaisu said, called the minus lens, a crime against humanity, specifically about the medical profession. Now, I do respect medical, as you know, but equally, there's a tendency to think that medical people will tell you how to do something and you'll do it. That's never going to happen. Only Sterling Colgate had the right idea. You use your own plus lens when you're 20/40, monitor your Snellen, and improve your vision back to 20/20, and keep on wearing the plus lens after you get to 20/20. So here is Kaisu Viikari. She was born in Finland and wrote her books and had feelings about myopia being preventable. And there's Kaisu. This is from a postcard or photograph by my son, dated 2015 to Otis, from Kaisu. Unfortunately, we think that medicine must do everything for us and that we don't know how to do anything. Well, understand that attitude, that does not solve problems. It only solves problems if you're an engineer who designs control systems and recognize that all eyes at birth control their refractive state to an average of accommodation. It's always been that way. Evolution designed it that way. But every time the medical person looked at a refractive state, they immediately call it error, as in bad camera. That type of logic destroys all kinds of reason, logic, common sense, and so forth. That does not make prevention easy. It's not. It's very hard. I've been doing it now for the last 15, 13 years by using my own Snellen test lenses. So I measure my own refractive state because I have to. Medical optometrists don't do good measurements. You can't do a measurement in 10 minutes and throw in cylinder and have a good measurement. It's just expensive and not accurate. So that is why after I got to 20/40, because of cataract surgery, I went all out to use the plus on myself. And this is something that you do when you understand the eye's behavior as a well-engineered, sophisticated system from birth. And then you report the actual facts, not the interpretation of facts. Basically, all studies, even the primate eye, they don't report a refractive state. They report errors. Every refractive state is an error when the eye is totally normal. And they always do it. And so when you try to talk to, but what about the behavior of the fundamental eye at birth? And they start talking about eyes being too long or too short, whatever the case. So in their language, every refraction is defect, unless it's exactly zero. That's camera mentality. The eye is not like that. The fundamental eye never was like that. But equally, the desire for prevention or education for prevention must be in the person himself, and it must be long-term, and you must make your own measurements, which is what most people will not do. I'll set a limit and say that the normal eye has refractive states of +1 diopter to -1 diopter, and I would not call those refractive states a defect. But they always say you either have hyperopia or myopia in that range. And I say, that's not going to help me. It's not going to help anyone. I, of course, suggested a study where a pilot be offered a choice and do what I'm doing when he still has 20/20 and maybe 20/40. And this is what Rupo, one husband, realized. They don't use the language I use, but they recognize one thing. if there's going to be for prevention, it's got to be started while you still have 20/20 and positive refraction. They use different words, but it's still the same thing. So they're dedicated to prevention when their children have 20/20. So they're treating a person who is perfectly normal vision with a medical approach of using atropine. So if you can figure that out, maybe that would help your understanding. So here are Kaisu's books. Sorry, it's backward ocular accommodation. Digitization threatening our vision. She's right. Us doing that, refractive stated the normal line changes from plus to minus. And panacea. Panacea means basically cure. Daughter of I don't know what that word is, tetralogica. The clinical significance of ocular accommodation. Kaisu Viikari. And she suggests, hope this book finds its place in ophthalmologists and also the layman. Here, the layman can be people who are not medical. That would be Sterling Colgate, who was not medical. He had no interest, just described how he used the plus that changed his refractive state from a negative value to a positive value, and wrote a short pamphlet about it and sent it to the National Eye Institute. But inevitably, they will think that the public won't do it. The public will not take prevention seriously while they still have 20/20. And to take prevention seriously when you're 20/20 means you're an engineer designing control systems and understand the primate data, raw primate data, as it shows all eyes controlling their refractive state to the average of accommodation. And if you don't understand it that way, nobody can help you. Prevention will always mean I make a choice to wear the plus, as I'm doing now, and make sure my Snellen passes the required DMV test. You can do better, but if you're at the DMV, let's say 20/60, and you go to a person like Lance Kugler, Lance the slicer of corneas, and he says that's going to cure everything because it's not too expensive and it works. That will be a panacea for all myopia. Well, yes, you can slice the cornea, and yes, you'll improve that. And that's a pure medical solution. Of course, there are risks to slicing the cornea. So in summary, he's the best medical person who says a minus is a crime against humanity. Doesn't know how to deal with you, doesn't know how to talk to you, doesn't know how to make measurements. And it is tough. I spent a lot of time looking at my Snellen and using test lenses to verify I'm better than the DMV. But if you are at the DMV and you go for an exam by Lance, he's not concerned. He's going to give you a full strength minus lens, which will probably be at least a -1.5, could be -3. And that ends the possibility of prevention for you. And you'll accept it because you don't like prevention and you don't understand it, certainly. And I can't help that situation at all. So I'd propose this idea at a college where the person's old enough and mature enough to understand the science of all eyes from birth and give them a choice at 20/40 to see if they can get out of it the way I'm doing it. If they don't want to do it, you can't put it in them. You learn this by scientific education and learning the intense bias against prevention in optometry. So I'll turn this over to you and make your own choices. Thank you.